You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Hello and welcome to Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about jiu-jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a blue belt who trains at Victory Jiu-Jitsu Halifax, located in Nova Scotia, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaclyn Wilson.
Hey Lamar, how's it going tonight?
It's going well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's very awesome to hear. First and foremost, I would like to extend our gratitude for being on the show today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to do this and kind of share my story and talk with you a little bit about jiu-jitsu. It's gonna be a fun session.
It is going to be a fun session. It's always a fun session when you get to sit down and talk about jiu-jitsu, right?
I mean, really, what else do we want to talk about? Like, let's just talk jiu-jitsu. That's what it's all about. And our lives should just revolve around jiu-jitsu. Actually, I think my life does revolve around jiu-jitsu. So,
well, exactly. That's what we're here for. If you want to give yourself a little bit more of a formal introduction, by all means, and the floor is yours. Let's hear your story.
Sounds good. Yeah. So, thanks for having me tonight. So, I'm a blue belt. Got my blue belt back in June, actually. So, kind of a crazy ride. I never would have thought 3 years ago that my life would be literally revolved around jiu-jitsu. My kids actually started training first, and then one night I was leaving the gym with my oldest and my friend slash coach now. He says to me, "So when are you going to join the gym?" And this is like the end of November, like Christmas is coming up. And I said to him, I was like, "You get a women's group going and I'll come try it out." So not a word of a lie, 2 weeks later, he messaged me and said, "Hey, I got a women's group starting up January 7th. You in?" Yeah, I said I would try it. So I guess I'm in. So I show up January 7th and do one class. And I felt like I fell in love. And they knew I think they probably knew right off the bat that I was going to love it. And I'm like the super driven person. I really I have high expectations. I have dreams and I have goals. And anyway, so I do this first class. And I was like, oh, wow, that was awesome. Like, I really like that. And like, this is just like learning like basic drills, like just doing the rolls, doing the shrimps and the butt scoots and that kind of stuff. But still, like, absolutely loved it. I loved being on the mats. And then I go back to my second class. It's like, okay, this is fun. Like, we actually did a move, and I think we did like an arm bar or something like that for my very first thing. I thought, wow, how cool is this? Like, this is pretty empowering. I'm like 130 pounds at the time, and I'm not athletic by any stretch of the means, haven't done anything athletic, and doing this arm bar. I was like, this is really cool. I've got a little bit of control. Like, I could do stuff with this. So I show up for my third class, and this is when like I'm beaming walking into class. I'm like, let's go. What are we going to learn today? And then our black belt, who I train under, he says, he's there at the end of the class, and he says, "So how's it going?" I was like, "When can I sign up for the co-ed class? When can I start for the co-ed class?" It's like, "Come on Tuesday." So a friend of mine, he hooks me up with a gi, and I show up on Tuesday night all happy and giddy and ready to go. And then I stop because this is like the real deal. This is like the adult class where you have to do all this stuff. And I was like, and it totally intimidating with these big guys all around me. But I train with like these guys that I train with are absolutely amazing. And the couple of girls that I train with, they're incredible as well. And they just welcomed me right in. They showed me what to do. Now, Lamar, I got to tell you the story. So we're going through class. The drills are all cool. I'm like, this is awesome. Well, doesn't it come down to Shark Tank at the end of my first co-ed class? I've only done 2 other classes, and I was like shitty bricks. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And the guys say they can see me, and I'm almost tears and ready to run out of the gym and be like, I'm out. Like, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to roll. I didn't sign up to do Shark Tank and go into, anyways. The 4 guys who were in my Shark Tank, and at this time there was no other women in the club. It was just me with a whole bunch of guys. They put me into the Shark Tank, and they look at me, and I'm sure they can see me ready to melt. And they look at me and they're like, "It's all right. You just go in there and we'll just do whatever." And sure enough, I think that solidified it right then and there doing the Shark Tank, how much I fell in love with the sport and how amazing it was to feel something totally different and doing something that really just challenged you and took you out of your real life and took you away from your phone and on the mats in that instant where you had to figure out what you were going to do next. So that's kind of my story of how I got in it. It truly was like, it was life-saving. that's a whole other that's another conversation that we can get into. But it was, for my mental health, it was an incredible it was an incredible outlet for me to get into, and then going through COVID and everything. So jiu-jitsu is my life now. I'm a blue belt. I coach the kids classes, or at least I help coach the kids classes as well. And then on top of that, I've been helping out with our women's group as well. So it's been an incredible 3 years to be involved in the sport.
Yeah, it just sucks you right in, doesn't it?
Oh man, if you love it, it sucks you right in. But it's like a love-hate, because I've seen other people who come in, they're like, yeah, this is not for me. It's like, yeah. And you kind of know, like, I don't know about you, when you walk in the gym and you have somebody new walk in, you can kind of tell right off the bat if they're going to like it or not like it.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, my non-practitioner listeners, a Shark Tank is basically when you roll with everybody in the class. You take turns and you just go. It's like round after round, depending on how many people show up. So I don't know how to do it at your school, but at my school, that's kind of like our like a celebratory thing. So if it's your like birthdays, anniversaries, any special announcements, whatever, we'll do a Shark Tank.
Yes, we would do the same, and then on some nights we do Shark Tank on a more regular basis, depending on what's happening. And sometimes we'll divide up into like a small group with the same size, same skill, that type of thing, and you'll stay down on the mats. Let's say there's 4 people in your group, then you stay on the mats on the bottom for four rounds, and then you switch and you go on top and go all the way through. So Shark Tanks look a little bit different, depends on who's all in the class. Like if we've got a bunch of like blue and higher up belts, then we'll do it where like everybody's in it and you're rolling with everybody, which is really cool because you get to feel a whole bunch of different people and how they move and do all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah. And then we do them for the birthdays and the anniversary celebrations as well.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
I know, right? I remember one year I got I think like 3 Shark Tanks. Like back to back. It was one for a wedding I think was it my wedding anniversary? I think it was a wedding anniversary. The announcement of me and my wife's second child, and my birthday. It was all like back to back. So, but yeah. And
so how many days off did you take after doing 3 Shark Tanks in a row? Because that's pretty rough on the body.
I didn't take any days off because I'm just that hooked on jiu-jitsu. I was a blue belt at the time when all this happened too. It was like the first Shark Tank was like at the end of the first week of March. Then like the second one was like towards like the end of March, and then right after that was like my birthday in April. So it was the first 2 was spread out, but still it was like it was one regardless. It was back to back regardless. But I love it though. I love it. We haven't done one in a while. I think I'm gonna talk to our instructor about bringing back Shark Tanks. But I know if I say something, I'm probably be the first one. Like, well, since you brought it up, let's go ahead and get it started. You in the middle, so.
We did a 40-minute. I turned 40 back in March, and we did a 40-minute Shark Tank for me. So I just went through all 8 people, and we just divided the hours, and divided the minutes by 40 minutes, and I just went straight for 40 minutes, no break. It was rough.
but I awesome. Bet you felt so amazing after.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. And then you go and drink and have a pizza, and you're good to go.
all right. You good to go. But yeah, if you want to, I know you mentioned something earlier about jiu-jitsu saving your life. If you want to talk about it, I would love to hear it, and I bet everyone else listening would love to hear it too.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So we had just moved from out west, which is like the Calgary, Alberta area, back to Nova Scotia, which was home for us. But it wasn't a smooth transition by any means. It took us a while to find a house, and then I had to deal with like a whole bunch of family stuff. My sister and I didn't get along. It was kind of to the point where like her and I weren't talking, and I was like, I'm done. Like if we're gonna move back here and be with family, but we're not actually talking and we can't be in the same room, it was rough. And then on top of that, I hated my job. I didn't have a team. Like I wasn't working with people, and I really didn't have any friends either. When we came back, it was just family and really no one to hang out with. And sometimes you just gotta have some girl time. You just gotta be with your girls, or you just gotta go and hang out with your friends. And I didn't have any of that, so I really had no camaraderie. no friends to really kind of count on. I had nobody to go and drink that glass of wine with at the end of the week other than my husband and my 2 kids. And it was just a lot. It was just a lot to have to kind of take in. And then when my coach, my now coach, asked me like, "Hey, you're gonna join?" I was like, "Okay, well, aside from being scared shitless of actually going to do something new, but I thought, okay, well, I'll get to meet some new people." So when I showed up, sure enough, I mean, I've got like this whole entire second family, and I'm at the gym like 6 times a week. So that's what I mean by like it just saved my life. And then going through COVID, because when COVID hit, we all went remote, right? We all started working from home. So I really lost like all that team atmosphere. And I'm a very social person. I want to go out there and I want to go meet with the team and I want to go collaborate with the team and have that off the office cooler, water cooler chat, whatever. But I didn't have any of that. I didn't have that working remote even before COVID. So jujitsu was like my place. So at the end of the day, when I would leave and cook the dinner for the family and deal with the kids stuff and all that, it's like I need an outlet. So the gym ended up coming that outlet, and then on top of that, building some incredible friendships and meeting some incredible people who are there for me no matter what, and they've been through the whole entire jujitsu roller coaster of that up and down of like, I suck, I'm horrible, I'm good, I'm not good, going through all of that. But they've been there through every single step of the way, and like I've seen myself learn, like I've learned how to be patient with myself and just be kinder and talking to myself that you don't suck at this, like this isn't right. But it also helped me in communicating with my family and being able to actually end up staying here because we were close. I mean, I'm not kidding, like come November of 2019 I was ready to pack up the house and move back out west again just so I could be back with my friends. So it wasn't like a literal saving of my life, but it definitely saved us for staying here in Halifax and being close to family because it gave me that outlet and it gave me a whole bunch of friends. And we still connect. I had a girlfriend, she moved, she's not with our gym anymore, but she moved and she showed up and she shocked me on Saturday. And I literally squealed and jumped into her arms. She's bigger than me, so I just like jumped. But it really made me realize how important those friendships are that we build in the gym and the camaraderie that we get out of being at the gym and the second family. So when I say it saved my life, that's what I mean. I created this friendship and these people, this bond with people that I would never want to lose because they really are a second family. I mean, we spend hours upon hours training. They see us at our worst. They see us, being hard on ourselves and then, going through a whole, like competing and everything. So, it's just been, that's what I mean. It's just something totally different. It gives you a different drive. It gives you a different challenge to kind of see yourself through those things. And it's you have to do that. You have to do that inward work of finding what works for you and what's that balance and being kind to yourself and struggling, but picking yourself back up again when you go through that. So that was kind of my journey about going through everything and then just realizing how hard I am on myself and what the expectation, but at the same time, you have this team that's there to pick you up when you fall down, which is just absolutely incredible. And they were all there. My father had some health issues back in September, but they all knew what was happening and they were so supportive and just checking in to make sure that I was okay and, making sure that on the mats I was okay because they knew I was struggling to kind of make my way through that. So having that second family has been incredible for my support and my mental health and having a team to go and socialize with.
Oh yeah, definitely like especially when it comes to me, I've been training at the same school for the past 5 years, and I can't like express the level of like bond that I have grown to have with a few of the guys at the school. They're, like you said, they're definitely like your second family. We talk every single day. We train 3-4 days a week. We hang out, on the weekends or whenever we can. And, especially during those, like, those dark times, outside the mats. Cause like, last year I lost my father.
Wow.
It was, a sudden heart attack and it was just wild, but just the amount of love and everything I got from my, from the school, everybody, texting me and calling me. We had, group message. We have a group message. So everybody was messaging me on there. Everyone who I was talking to every day was, they came over, made sure I was all right, supporting me at the funeral and everything else under the sun. And, I can't thank these guys enough. And that I feel like that is what makes I guess you want to say jiu-jitsu better, especially when you have that that type of love for your training partners.
Yes.
Because like if they're gonna show you that much love and support on the mats and off the mats, like you can't help but give it your all and fall so deep in love with this sport and the people around you.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. It's ironic because my father suffered a massive heart attack in September, and he has not been the same. And in some ways, the mats have been there for me, like in so many different ways to deal with that emotional. Like I didn't lose him, but I feel like in some ways he did. Like we did lose a part of him because he had a stroke after that. So to your point, like that, those are the guys who were there. Like they were checking in on me to make sure that I was okay, and they were checking to make sure that he was okay, and if we needed anything. And it's just it's such a beautiful sport for that you have this support system that you never would have thought. And it's such a brutal sport, like we're going out there to try and we're drilling really hard and we're trying these crazy submissions, and yet we can walk off the mats. And it's the same as competing, right? Like you walk off the mats and you're like best of friends. It's like the craziest thing ever. That
in an instant, like it's in an instant.
Yeah, you're like, okay, we're best friends again. I'm like, 1 second you're trying to rip the arm off of each other, and then the next second you're like, all right, that was cool.
I know, right? So,
it's such a crazy ride, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know about you, but I would
I would not have it any other way. Other way. Like me and one of my brothers, we made like a little friendly little wager, because he's a strong guy, he's a wrestler, and he was always say like no one can get from under him. So we made it like a friendly bet. I know he's gonna be pissed that I called him out on this because I told him I'm gonna be petty about it. So we made like a $100 bet. Like I have until the end of the year to get from under him. And it was like me, him, and like maybe like 3-4 other guys like around that heard it. And then as of recently we rode, I got from under him and submitted him. So I'm like, all right, so let me get that money. So he's like, nah, we ain't shake on it. So like I think this has been like 2 weeks since it happened. And I just been ragging on him like this whole time.
All right, so I'm curious, what was your escape method? How did you get out from underneath them?
Okay, so like I said, he's a wrestler. He has a good wrestling base. He's been wrestling since high school. I think since high school. And he went for a double leg, and he had his arms wrapped like under my leg. So when he was pushing forward, his head came up. So I just shot in for a guillotine. And then so then when he tried to like I guess roll out of it, I rolled with him and ended up on top, trying to finish the guillotine on top. But he's strong, so we rolled again. So now I'm back under him, and then I locked my legs and finished it. So
sweet.
Yeah. So I'm a pick on him. I don't care about the money. I just like having that little bit over him. It's like he would, he was one of the guys that would give me like my, my toughest rolls because of his size and because of how strong he was. It will always be so frustrating, to not at him but at myself, because it's like, man, at this level there's a lot of stuff you should not be getting caught in. You should be so much better, just being a little bit hard on myself. But I really can't be that hard because he knows my game, because we train together and vice versa, and we have our back and forth moments. But I guess this one was a little bit different because I'm getting ready for this tournament in January, so I've been just busting my hump like extra hard these last couple months, and it felt so good getting that submission. It could have happened to anybody, but I got that submission and it just felt so good. But yeah, I still love him for him. I'm still ragging on him to this day. So I know he's gonna be pissed when this episode comes out, but I don't care.
I don't care either. Thanks for sharing that. But I think it's funny because it's funny that you should say that. Because when you were telling me the story, I was thinking on like Saturday, I was in the gym, and again, like I'm 130 pounds, so and a newer blue belt, like I said, right? So I'm going against this guy who's 220 pounds, and he's trying to get out of my closed guard. So he gets himself up, and I actually got him down. Like I was able to like spread it. Like I was able to get him down on the ground. So he ended up falling down on his back. But Lamar, like I actually like I screamed. I was like, yes. And I felt horrible because of course it's supposed to be like a very humbling sport and you're supposed to like stay calm. But you know what? When you go through those moments like you did with your buddy and you escape from underneath him, like those are big, like those are big moments. Because if you're not typically getting out from under there, and then like you got to celebrate those like huge accomplishments. So, buddy, you got to pay Lamar up. You got to pay him his $100. Like that was. Or else you just continue to be razzed for the next 50 years.
Oh, it's going and I am that petty. I am that level of petty to do so. But, you know, in the end, it was like a motivational thing because I was still a purple belt when we made that bet, and training was kind of going iffy. I wasn't like there mentally, but I just kept, when I realized, like when I kept looking at the calendar, I was like, oh man, I'm like, it's something coming up. And then I just randomly one day, one of our white belts was like, hey Lamar, don't you and Coleman got a bet in soon? And I was like, oh snap, we do got that bet. So I had to kick it up. It was like I didn't want to pay him no $100 because he had never let me hear the end of it. So I had to get it before he got me. But I can't say it did help me get a lot better because it did push me to not quote unquote lose his bet. But you know, I got better in the end. So I guess I can tell him thank you for that.
We don't have to go there though. We don't have to say that.
I mean, it's already said, but like he knows though. He knows.
He knows. But it's such a confidence builder when you can, like, when you have that, like that little team, like that small success moment, it's such a confidence builder. And I don't know, like, it's interesting because jiu-jitsu, like I said, it's such a roller coaster ride because you can be on this crazy high where everything is really going well. And then you start going down the roller coaster. And like you said, like, it's funny because you said something about that we shouldn't be getting caught in those certain moves at certain levels. And I disagree with that because we are training with the same training partners on a regular basis. So they're going to catch us in certain things. But even as we grow in our journey, we're still going to get caught with something because somebody else might be stronger. They may be bigger, or maybe they have a move that they've actually looked up online to see how can I catch this person in this move because they're good at it. So it's all part of it. It's all part of this like problem solving, putting the piece together. Where's that scramble going to end up? But it's the roller coaster ride of like the ups and downs of going through it. Your confidence is really good. And then you start coming down. And I don't know, like when you look at your journey, this is what I've really noticed when I start tanking and I feel like I'm not doing very well, or I should just go back to being a white belt. Cause I'm like, how did I miss that? Or how did I, why am I not being able to do that? And I always find, and this is for anybody who's like, I'm going to say this because I think anybody who's starting out in a white belt level needs to hear this, but you'll get to this point where you're like, oh, I'm killing it. And then you go down and then you're in this like rut of nothing's working. You can't submit anybody. You're not hitting the moves that you want to hit. And then all of a sudden you go through all of that of making yourself feel like you're not worthy or that you shouldn't be doing that. And then all of a sudden this light bulb moment comes on and you go back into the gym and everything's working and you're rolling at a higher level than what you were before you went through that. So I don't know if that's just me, but like that's something that I've really noticed is that I can go on this really great high and then I tank and then I come back and I'm way stronger than what I was when I was having my high. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. Like, have you noticed that in your journey, or is that just something that I've noticed for myself?
Too many times to count, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, we'll get those moments where, we can go to practice, we go to training every single day and leave it all, just push and push and push and push. And yeah, you'll have those moments where it's like, damn, I'm not missing class. I'm doing everything that I know I can do, but yeah, I'm super sucking right now. So you just kind of hit that, you kind of plateau a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
But, at the same time, with you doing jiu-jitsu so long, even if it's for a couple months, couple years or whatever, if you keep going, like, once you get that first time where it's like, okay, if I keep going, it's going to get better. I'm going to get over this hump. It's like you can kind of expect those moments again because they're going to happen because you're only going to get better and your team is only going to get better. So you're always going to have those tiny little moments where it feels like you're stagnant because you're you're rolling with someone this whole time, and you're still, I guess you say, like, making the same mistakes and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. But, you have to understand, like, yeah, they're training just as hard as you. So once you figure out your plateau and you push past it and then you get better, it's going to happen. I know I kind of like rambled a little bit, but yeah, everyone has those moments.
Yeah. It's crazy when you start realizing when you go through that, when you're plateauing, and then you have to go through that. You have to go through that and figure it out. And it's such a crazy ride.
Very crazy. Very crazy ride.
I think it's really interesting too, like just being a female in the sport, and there's so few of us in the sport. Of course, like when I go in, there's me and one other, and then every once in a while we'll get like a new person come in. But one of my favorite things about training now is with working from home, and I'm shifting a little bit over to like the self-defense side of things, of what makes it so much more fun, is that if I have somebody come into the house to do like fix the laundry machine or whatever, like those repair guys or the cable guy, I love being able to like watch them come in the door and like eyeing them, like, all right, you're this side, I can do this. Like, okay, so if this guy does anything, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and he'll be done. It's so much fun, like looking at like people. Like, all right, but you know what? It's even better because now, like, I can walk through a parking lot and not feel like I'm in constant danger, or if somebody were to come up behind me, I know what I'm going to do. Like, I have like some tools in my bucket, so to speak, to be able to like, all right, you're going down. I'm going to knock you out. Like it's such an empowering ability from a self-defense perspective for women to be able to go in there and know, okay, I can protect myself now. Because before I never would have felt that. Like 3 years ago, I never would have known what to do in that situation, and I'd be the victim. Right now,
exactly. And
protect myself.
And it's funny because I've done that too. Like even being a guy, my size, I'll just be walking and I'll see somebody's like, yeah, I could take that guy. Yeah. Like if I get into a scuffle with this guy, what would I have to do, and blah 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 blah. But it's like you said, it's not to like brag or anything. It's just that it helps you find that confidence in yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the ability to walk taller and not have to feel like you're, I don't know. It's just it's such a great feeling to know that you have a little bit of protection in there. I mean, there's still somebody that can still catch you off guard and whatever, but I do love having that self-defense bucket now that I can do that, and even better, being able to share that sport with my kids, but also with other women out there, and encouraging them to come in and see like it's not that scary, and rolling with different people isn't that scary, but being able to share that is one of my passions. Like when we look at my journey going forward, it's all about sharing the sport and getting other women involved, and whether they want to do it hardcore like I am, or if they just want to come in twice a week and just learn something. Just come in and learn something. Take yourself away from your cell phone, take yourself away from the house, from everything else that's going, but just come in and learn something new to protect yourself for something.
Yeah. And it's also, it's awesome to hear that from you, because I've had I was kind of like going through my list while you were talking. I think I maybe had like 5 or maybe 6 female jiu-jitsu practitioners come on, and it's all been it's kind of all been the same, talking about how how much confidence it gave them and how much it helped them mentally, and overcoming a lot of their fears as a female, and just hearing how tough you guys are. It's amazing. It's amazing, and I love it. I love to hear it. And I was talking to one of our white belts. His mom drops him off and come picks him up, and she comes in towards like the end of class, and she'll like sit and watch, and they'll leave, and I keep asking her, like, when you gonna join class? Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh no, it's not for me, and blah blah blah. But I be like telling her, like, you should really try it. Like, you should really, really try it. And you guys are witnesses. Everyone who's listening are witnesses to like these women who come on the show who's not athletic, who's not into anything extreme, but they do jiu-jitsu and they compete, and they're rolling with guys 2-3 times their size, and and just like asking for more. It's awesome. It's amazing to hear.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like I'm in the gym. Oh my gosh. This is my like I haven't been in the gym much this week, but I'm usually in the gym 3 nights a week plus a Saturday morning rep and roll, and then on Sundays I do the kids class. But I'm one of the only females up there I am the only female that's there 4 or 5 times a week. But to your point, like I'm rolling with the guys who are 250 pounds who are competing. And it's so much fun. Like I wouldn't have it any other way of doing that because they challenge me in so many different ways, and rolling with them is so different, and having to deal with the different hooks. And then you go and roll with a couple of different girls, and they're different because their movements are different, but at the same time you can see how energetic and how passionate they are about it as well. But man, do I ever love going into the gym, and I can't wait because tomorrow night's my first night back in the gym since Saturday morning, and I'm just crazy, like I don't know about you, but you get like edgy, just like damn, I need to get in the gym. I want to get into the gym. I want to go and do something and learn something new. And my new favorite one right now is the bow and arrow choke, and it was funny
Ooh.
because I was landing there. I was getting to like the bow and arrow choke a lot lately. And they were laughing at me because they're just like, well, why are you not finishing the move? I was like, what do you mean? What move? Like, they're like, well, the bow and arrow choke. What are you talking about? Lamar, I had like the gripping for the lapel. And they're like, well, you have it right there. Like you're bringing your shoulder back. I was like, okay, so what's your point? Like, where's the bow and arrow choke? And they're like, grab the knee.
All right, grab the
The
pant
knee.
leg, grab by the knee, and rear back.
And go back. I totally missed it. And I'm not even kidding. I've missed it for probably like 2 months, and I've been going in for this lapel choke, trying to figure out like, what do I got here? What am I playing with? And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, seriously, just grab the knee. So,
Right.
like the guys are just so good. And they just laugh at me for my silliness, but it's just the lack of knowledge, right? That sometimes you just don't realize you have that next move. And that's where the guys come in and who have been, the purple and the brown belts, and they laugh at you for a second and then they walk you through it. But it
Yeah.
all goes back to that super fun team camaraderie and dealing and rolling with those guys who are there for you the entire way. So, but and I think like for anybody new who's listening to this podcast, I think when you go into the gym, you want to make sure that you have that comfort zone. If you've got a couple, you want to look for the guys who are being supportive and the girls who are being supportive, who are coming over and introducing yourself, and see what they're doing. And then for the moms, like that's always the way it is though. Hey, like the encouraging, I forgot where we were going with this. I think I got off tangent, but anyways, because I get excited, I just love talking about it. But but like the mom that was coming in that you were trying to encourage, I find it takes so long for them to realize that it might be something that they would actually want to do, because it looks so intimidating when you watch us on the mats. It's you got sweat pouring down your face and you're doing these crazy moves and you're putting people in guillotines and they're tapping. Like it's it's kind of scary when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell them to come out to women's group or come out do something, I think like the more power to them just to come out and try it and do something amazing for yourself. Because really, I mean, I was not a runner. I wasn't working out at home. I maybe walked a couple of kilometers once a week and that type of thing. So I wasn't doing anything, but it's quite the sport. And I encourage if you're even just sitting in the chair, if you're like, that kind of looks like fun, but it's kind of scary, go do it. Go do something scary. Go and participate and go try it out, because in the end, I guarantee you're probably going to end up loving it.
You're going to end up loving it.
Yeah. So what else did you want to talk about? This is a super fun conversation. Is there anything else you wanted to ask or talk about?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you compete?
I have competed. I've competed twice
Uh-huh.
at a white belt level. And I hated it. I hated every second of the actual competition. I love the lead up to it. I love the working out. I love the eating right and training and putting all of my effort into it. But the day of the competition, I absolutely hated it. And I will preface all of this. I hate losing. I mean, who doesn't? But I ended up going to my first competition, and I tanked. I was not ready. I should have never gone. I felt like I was probably ready, but I was not ready by any stretch of the means, and lost my first 2 matches. And it really sucked. I started my first competition and I had to go against one of the girls that I had been training, that actually trained out of our gym. And she had been training for like 2 years ahead of me, and she smashed me in the gym on a regular basis. So that was not a very good confident builder, let alone going into competition. But I did it anyways. And then I went into my absolute match. And my absolute match, the match that I did not care about, I was like, if I win, I lose, it's not a big deal. I'm going against like a chick who's 160 pounds. I lost that match, but I did way better. Like I found my confidence, I found my groove and everything. And I think part of that too was the fact that I was training with guys who were 160 to 100, like to 215 pounds. So maybe that's what helped the nerves on that. But I'm not competing anymore. It's definitely not my I don't enjoy it. Even the second one that I did, I lost all my matches, but it's the experience that you get out of it. And I swear it made me a better practitioner in the fact that I learned what I needed to work on. So maybe someday I'll compete again, but I absolutely hated the day up and the adrenaline dump that I get afterwards. Like, just cried for hours for no reason. Like I was actually proud of myself for the fact that I actually went and did it. But like at night, by the time the kids went to bed and I kind of had a chance to like think about the day, I just cried and threw up and cried and threw up and cried. So I don't think competing is really for me, but I do recommend it. I think it's a great experience to go out there and try it. And maybe I would consider it in the next year. I always said I wanted to do one gi competition because I've done 2 no gi competitions, and I always said a gi competition would be more up my alley. But it would take a lot of guts to have to go back up there and do that again.
I think you got it. I think you got it in you.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know in 6 months if there's one that.
Oh yes, by all means, please let me know. Please let me know. But
maybe one where I'm not in my hometown where everybody's watching me. I don't like an audience either, so that's kind of interesting. So maybe if I was out of province and doing it where nobody knew me and I was just went in there and did it. But yeah, I'll prep anybody for a competition. I'll coach them. I'll scream at them and say, you got to do this. And I love that side. I love the supporting side of it and watching my teammates competing.
Definitely. I don't think maybe, I don't know. I have to go back and kind of re-listen to the episodes myself. But I think everybody who came on the show, their first competition was like horrible. Like not only did they lose, they just lost in like just lost in a bad way.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn. It's like and we still go out and do it.
Which is absolutely crazy.
Which is absolutely insane.
Yeah. I don't think you could ever prepare yourself for that first competition. Like, I don't know about you, but I remember going in there and be like, okay, it can't be that bad. But then you forget. It's like, oh my God, you have to breathe and you have to do takedowns and you got to do this and you got to do that. And everybody else is watching you and the ref is watching you. Like, it's I don't know how these UFC fighters do it. I don't know how they do it every week or like how they go out and compete because the nerves that go with it, But
I guess it's just, after you get that first initial one out of your system, and it's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Because that's
true. The second one wasn't as bad as the first, but like I said, I don't like losing, so I don't want to go to another one and lose.
That's all part of jiu-jitsu, though. You don't really lose, you learn. You win or you learn.
Yeah, that's very true. I would agree with that, and I would tell anybody else that, but I do not like to.
Losing sucks, but you still learn. But yeah, when I did, because I was never the competitive type, jiu-jitsu competitive type rather. But I don't know, I just decided to do a tournament last year, and it was for Tap Cancer Out. It's an awesome organization. And I can talk about them for hours. Real cool people. And the people that was there representing them was very, very top notch. And wish these guys all the success in their future tournaments. But yeah, I was there. I was stupid early. Got to see the kids. The kids class. I mean, not the kids class, but the kids compete, which was so amazing. And then when it got to the purple belt masters division, it was only me and one other guy that showed up. So it was like, okay. And then when I saw the guy, I was like, oh shit. Super strong guy, and it was just like, all right, man, this is about to be wild. This is what I got on my first experience out as a tournament. All right, but yeah, he was incredibly strong, and I lost quick twice, both matches, but it was just like, damn. I don't know why. I didn't know what to feel about it then. I was like, okay, am I upset because I didn't win? I'm upset that it went the way that it did? Like, what am I feeling right now? And I couldn't figure it out until I got in the car. I was just like, damn, I want to do this again. Like, I want to put him to the side, just get a couple more rows in, just because.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I just kind of made it my goal this year is to do like a minimum of 3 tournaments this year.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's so crazy to me thinking about that because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just do one in January and just leave it at that. But then I'm just like steady looking for tournaments that's coming either to Detroit or somewhere in the surrounding area, and I'm just looking. I was like, okay, if I can do this one in January, I can do this one by March, April-esque. Oh, this one's in June, so they give me plenty of time. And I'm like, what are you doing? like what are we doing here? Like, just slow down, Turbo. But yeah, I love jiu-jitsu that much.
Yeah. I love it though. Like, you're pushing yourself. You're trying to see how well you'll do against other people, and you're testing your skills out with a whole bunch of different people. And it's all part of the journey, right? Like, everybody's journey is so different for how they want to go with it when they do it. And that's what I'm kind of curious about. Like, if I was to go and compete now at a blue belt, what would it be like? Where am I at now in comparison to where I was in that journey? But I say kudos to you to go and do 3. And I'm curious, are you doing gi or no gi?
Now that's where I'm on the fence about, because I'm for sure doing gi, but they do have a gi and no gi bracket there. So I'm debating if I'm going to do both.
Now I'm curious, are they doing it in the same day? So you do gi in the morning and no gi in the afternoon, or is it like Saturday, Sunday type thing?
No, it's all one day.
Oh.
Right. Right.
And it's funny because when you think about it, we roll harder than that in a class.
Yeah.
At the end, right? And like, we do open mats, but it's such a different experience for, like, the adrenaline dump is so different when we're competing versus in the open mat. I would say do it. Just go and do it. I mean, you're already there anyways, so go and have fun. Do gi and no gi and test yourself and see how well it goes. And it doesn't matter, like you said, it's win and learn, right? So you're walking away with something, and you can say, like, who else does that? Really, when you look at the number of competitors, there's so few of us who put ourselves in that situation. So if you have the opportunity, I say do it, push yourself, and go have fun.
Yeah, I gotta talk it over with the wife, because I know she wants to, she's gonna want to be there. And we have 2 little kids, who's 7 and 2, and I don't think they're gonna be thrilled about the idea of being there all day.
That's fair.
So it's like, I think this one I'll do gi, and then if there's another, when I do another one, if there's a gi and no gi, I'll probably do both. But that will probably be the one I'll just be like just me and my training partner, so that way I don't have to worry about them being there and being aggravated because we've been there so long, and I could just really, really focus on both brackets.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna do it that way.
All right, there you go. You're settled.
So we got it. We figured it out. But is your school, is it a competition school?
No, not really. I would say it's more of a family-friendly gym. We do have guys who compete, who are going, like, we had a guy who competed on the weekend, and then we have about 4 or 5 others who compete on a regular basis. So while we have advanced classes, I would say, but I wouldn't say we're like the competitive school, but we do have guys who compete.
Same here.
Yeah.
We're not a competition school. We're strictly like pure martial arts, self-defense type school. We do have 2 MMA fighters currently at our school, but other than that, I'm probably like the only one that's like, I guess you want to say, like the the competitor at the school besides um another student who I'm trying to get him on the show, but he's he had moved to Atlanta and he's doing amazing things over there. I think he's at American Top Team
Oh wow,
in
good for
Atlanta.
him.
So yeah, he's definitely showing his ass, and I'm very proud of him because he's a very very smart, very strong guy, and he's very very technical. So I've been trying to catch up with him to get him on the episode and see how his training has been going. But,
That would be super cool to hear back from him.
yeah, I know, right? I know, right? He was like kind of one of the first ones I was thinking about because his intellect is just amazing when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And every time I would message him, like, hey, dude, you're available? He's like, no, I'm traveling this week. I got something for work this week. And I'm like, damn it, man. But I'm gonna get him hopefully before the year is out.
So
but yeah,
that'd be good.
it'd definitely be good.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But yeah, it's interesting how the schools work. You have those competitive schools who are all about compete, compete, compete. And then thankfully we have these more friendly gyms where you have half like a mix. Like you can still get you can still get the really good guys who want to go compete or the girls who want to compete. But I think that's probably why I love our gym so much is that it is a friendly gym. And if you want to go compete, great. If you don't want to compete, then there's no pressure on you to do that at all.
Right. And I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah. And we have a few kids, like we have a really good, solid kids group, and some of them compete and go, and then they go and have fun. And then we've got a few adults who do it. So, but there's no pressure. Like come in and learn and develop your skill or go and compete and see what happens. So, which is really cool.
Yeah. I definitely feel like that's the way that it should be. That's the way school should be. No pressure on anybody. If they want to compete, fine. Work with them on that aspect and realm. If they just want to do it as a hobby and get in shape and just learn something new, also cater to them as well. So
exactly.
it's
It's funny because I'm super competitive, and I would have thought, after going through the comps, that would be something that I would want to do. But my journey has totally changed, and now my journey really kind of looks more like helping out and getting a women's group going and getting that started because I love doing the supporting side of things, and I love coaching and guiding and advising.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being in our kids. Like I'm in our kids class that we have, and I'm usually there helping out with coaching. So there's 4 or 5 of us helping out with these kids classes because we've got 20 to 30 kids who are usually going through it. But I love that side of the journey of being there and seeing the kids' faces and seeing them get excited about the move or helping them understand what the move or like the body movement is doing and where we're going with it. And that to me right now, like that fills my heart is watching, and even watching my 2 boys because they do it with me as well. So they go to kids class with me and seeing them participate in that and growing the sport from their side of things. And they go to the school and they're talking about it, and they're like, oh, my mom's doing this. And it's like, it's like the best experience ever to be able to have that with the kids, but also being able to see the kids' faces grow when they're developing something. And they're like, oh, we did this a few weeks ago. And like that next move just kind of makes more sense to them. So it's been like, that's been kind of my journey lately of getting away from the more competing side and being there more for everybody else and encouraging those who want to go and compete and watching them kind of just excel and doing what they're do best. So
yeah, and it just made me realize something too. So I got my brown belt back in October.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you. It was that first week of October. I think it's just been a little over a month now as a brown belt. But excuse me. I was talking to my instructor. But we've talked about this so many times about the future of our school and me hopping into that instructor role at the school because I'll do kids class. Majority of the times I'll do kids class, but there's been a few times where I'll do the adult classes, and then I would try to put classes together as much as I possibly can. And we were talking about the whole opening school aspect, and I was like, well, if that's the case, I feel like me competing will be kind of like that I won't say like publicity that I need, But I feel like if I had something to show that I'm actually doing this stuff, and it would just feel like it'd be a lot easier for me to be able to open a school.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and I was just like, oh wow, in 2 years I'll be hopefully, I'll be testing for my black belt, and it's like, okay, wow, what's next? Like I have to think about the what's next. Right now, I just been focusing on, training, getting in shape, getting better at jiu-jitsu, not really looking at the belts and not looking at the stripes. But now it's like, holy shit, I have one more test to take. It's because after my brown belt test, I talked to my instructor. He's like, yeah, one more. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh damn. This literally, I have one more, promotion test to take, and then that's kind of it, in a sense. But I was like, okay, now I have to figure. Yeah, right. It's crazy to even think about that, because if you sat down and have this conversation with me, 4 even 5 years ago, was like, dude, you're going to be getting your black belt soon, I wouldn't believe you.
No,
like you could have showed me pictures, videos, and everything. I'm like, man, get out of here.
Yeah.
There's no way. There is no way. But yeah, just, you start thinking about that, like what comes next. And, with me really being in love with the sport, trying to incorporate jiu-jitsu in every aspect of the way, the thoughts of opening the school and teaching full time. And, I guess it's just that drive and that motivation. And like, yeah, I need to start doing shit. And I need to start doing stuff now, so that when I do open a school, I have a little bit of a name for myself, and my jiu-jitsu will be, I guess, a lot better. A lot better than it is now.
Right. But that's such an interesting thing. Like, what an interesting comment though, because I don't know about you, but when I'm coaching and I'm teaching the kids, usually that's when the light belt, like that's what's made me a better jiu-jitsu practitioner, is actually being able to teach and then take what I've taught over onto my own skills. Because I'll be teaching them like, oh, dang, that's why we do that. Or like, that's why we do that movement. And then I'm like, okay, then I can take that into my role or to my drilling. So I'm curious, like, if by, like, you keep saying you want like to be a better jiu-jitsu, like to have your better jiu-jitsu, but is it going to come, is your jiu-jitsu actually going to get better by the more you're teaching it, the more you have your classes? And if you're doing it full time, that's when your jiu-jitsu level is going to totally change, is by teaching it on a more regular basis, because you're having to vocalize it, you're having to verbalize it to the people that you're teaching.
Yeah. I mean, I can't take away from teaching, because honestly, yeah, teaching has been, the best learning moments, especially in kids class, because, the way that I conduct kids class, we will do a single technique. So just say if we work in triangles that day.
Yeah.
I break down the triangle. So we learn the entry, and then we learn the arm position, and we learn the leg position, and then we just continue to break it down, and then towards the end of class, we just flow it all together. And then if they get stuck, it's like, okay, if they can't seem to figure out a part, it's like, okay, what part are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then, we're able to fix it from there and then continue to go. And then when I started to incorporate that into the adult class, it definitely opened my eyes up to a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Because I can break it down a little bit more, in more depth, because, if I'm working a triangle, what if the guy is bigger than me? What if the guy is smaller than me? What if his arms are longer? What if his shoulders are wider? What if he stands up? What if he twists this way? What if he twists that way? And we get those because we know as adults, we're not just going to just lay there and just let the triangle happen. We're going to try to fight it. We're going to try to resist it. So we get those questions that come up like, okay, what if they do that? So you have to figure out and break it down right then and there. But yeah, it definitely has helped me understand and develop a whole lot more of my own game and understand jiu-jitsu a whole lot more.
Yeah, I absolutely love it for that reason. It's such a different game when you start teaching and start watching the breakdown of it. So, but yeah, but that's really cool. Like I'm really excited for you that you're thinking about like opening up your own school, and your black belt is a few years away, but you got a few years. before you get black belt.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not counting the days out. I think I stopped doing that back at like, I think I was like a 2-stripe blue belt. When I was like, dang, I'm not getting. When the next time I'm gonna get striped and blah blah blah. I think at that point I was like, I just like training. I just like showing up. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, back then it's like you'll see someone get striped and you're like, damn man, that should have been me. And then it was like, it turned to that. It was like, hey, Lamar, you getting striped? It's like, all right, that's cool. I'm happy. And then, we get class going, or it'd be the end of class. It was like, okay, I'm happy. And then I'm ready for the next class. So,
yeah, it's funny how that transition happens. Like when you're a white belt, it's like, oh my God, I just want that blue belt. Like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And you're like, you're pushing and you're striving and you're pushing and you're like, but then I got my blue belt. I was like, okay, well, nothing has really changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like my skills are getting better, but nothing like now it truly is. It's showing up because I love it so much. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the blue. It doesn't matter. Like I know I want my purple belt. The brown belt would be amazing. But like that want for like the stripes, or that care about the stripes and that belt, it's not there anymore. And I was just like, that's so weird. That it just kind of went away. Now it's just like, whatever, we're gonna go and have fun and drill and see what's gonna happen with this move, or let's just go and enjoy the journey, so to speak. So, but it is funny how that kind of goes away. Like we're all about the stripes, we're all about the blue belt. And then it's like, who sticks around after they get their blue belt is the other question.
Yeah.
But no, it's one heck of a ride. But I do love my blue belt though. She's so pretty. I'm so proud of that blue belt. But yeah, like the want for the stripes has kind of gone away, and we take forever. Like we train we're under Gracie Gym, so our professor waits until we're like well past the blue. So we actually don't test, which is really interesting. I've always been curious to know more about this whole entire testing side of things, because we don't test, we just get it when our professor feels like we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of different. So you never know when you're actually going to get it. You don't actually get to test for it. You don't know where you are in the in the guidebook or whatever you want to call it, or in his head for where he feels like you should be. So that's kind of an interesting piece. So you never know, like, okay, I can do X, Y, and Z, and I can beat this person. But anyway, it's funny because when I was a white belt, it was all about the white. It's all about blue, and when I'm going to get at my stripes. And now it's like, meh, whatever. Just go and show up and have fun and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple people that that either became a blue belt or purple or whatever, and I asked them, like, do you guys test, or what's your criteria when it comes to your promotions? And I've seen videos online where they'll do a promotion test like we do, and some don't. It's just like, okay, hey, you've been busting your hump, you've been here for I guess the minimum 2 years depending on the school, but you've been doing what you're supposed to been doing. Here's your blue belt, or here's your purple belt, and so on and so forth, which there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it's been exciting to hear other people's, like, how did they get their blue belt, or what did they what was their requirements and testing and stuff like that. But I love our tests. So when it comes to our tests in our system under Master Joe Moera, we have to know our principles and rules. We have to know our snakes or shrimps. So some schools call them, what they're used for, how they're properly used. Then we have to show a set number of techniques. It goes up depending on how many, depending on your belt. I think, don't quote me on this because I completely forgot.
Okay.
I believe for blue belt it's 10 from top, 10 from bottom, 10 from side, so on and so forth. Right. Yeah, I think it goes up like 5 for purple, and so on and so forth. And then so you have the no. I'm just trying to blank because it's just so much. So rules and principles, and then our technique, and then we have our MMA / self-defense portion of the test.
Okay.
So at blue belt, it's you get a 1-on-1 standing, someone in guard, someone's in mount, in turtle, and back and side, and you have to use just strictly jiu-jitsu to defeat your opponent. and then we have like a little sport role after. For purple and brown and black, it's the same thing, but it's longer test, and we actually have to do two on one self-defense portions. So you have two people, throwing punches and kicks. You can throw strikes, but you have to be able to defend yourself doing jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So yeah, our test is brutal.
We're brutal. I'm not even sure. Like I still suck at takedowns. Like I would be in big trouble with a takedown. Like a single leg takedown. Oh my God, it's disastrous. Every time I was like, I hate doing this because I suck at it so bad. But so I don't know. And I would suck under pressure, like to do the test like that. So I don't know, but kudos to you guys because that test sounds absolutely brutal.
But it feels so good though. It feels so good when it's done.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be incredible. And like that 2-on-1, I can't even imagine like going for your test for your brown belt. Like, wow.
What's funny was the 2-on-1 portion was only like when I started training, it was only at brown and black belt. And I think was it, I'm trying to remember, when did he incorporate the 2-on-1s for a purple belt? But I know it was before I got my purple belt. But yeah, it was recently when the 2-on-1s got incorporated into the purple belt ranking. But yeah, once you, because we go over test prep, way before you actually test. So it's not like everything is going to be a surprise when you find out. But we'll have our classes where if someone is coming up on testing, we like usually 2-3 weeks before that person tests, those 3 classes are basically test prep.
Oh, okay.
For basically everybody. So it's like we'll have our we have our self-defense class, we'll have our 2-on-1 class, we'll have our sports role class, just leading up into that test to basically, get everyone who's watching prepared for it, because they might be a uki, so they just need to understand how everything goes, and the person who's testing, so they won't be, get that stage fright when it's, it's time to perform, even though you still do, but yeah.
That's super cool though. I like that. And at least you do have the test prep. So I think it's good to have the test and the our way. I think they all work in the end. I mean, we're all doing what we all love to do, and we know that we're strong enough when we get into those higher up belts that we're doing what we should be doing. So but yeah, I think the testing would be interesting to go through. So thanks for sharing with that. I was kind of curious how the whole entire testing thing worked.
Oh, no problem. I love to share anything jiu-jitsu related. But if you got any other questions for me, by all means, I would love for you to, if you got anything coming up. I know you say you don't compete, but if you got any events coming up for your school, shout out your school and your coaches and everything. But yeah, the floor is yours.
No, I mean, a big shout out to obviously Victory. I mean, they've been absolutely phenomenal to me. I train under Professor Shane Rice, who actually trained under the Gracies. He's been with Brooks and Gracie a couple of times, and for a full year actually lived with them. So, I mean, a big shout out to my school for sure, for being there with me for my journey. For anybody who listens, if they're in the Halifax area, we're obviously trying to grow our women's group, and I'd love to kind of meet you, and I'd love to kind of share the sport with you. So if you're listening to this in Halifax, if it makes that far, give me a ring, and hopefully we can meet you sometime. But that's pretty much all I got, Lamar. It's been an awesome hour to spend with you, and been awesome just talking jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it was definitely, I told you it was going to be very, very fun. You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. So thanks so much for having me on your show, Lamar. It was a great hour.
Yes, it was. But yeah, that's the end of today's episode. I would like to thank my guest Jaclyn again for coming on to the show. I really hope you enjoyed the tales of some of our experiences. Please go and follow our Facebook and Instagram page to stay updated on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day. Great day.